fiat money is pretty much you have a thief in your pocket that you don't see. It's the government that put a thief in your pocket. And every day that goes by, the money that you have in your pocket, they lose value. Every day, there's a little thief taking a piece of your money every single day.
Yeah.
That's terrible, obviously. That's terrible. Shit coins, I mean, where do I begin? Shit coins is like fiat on a blockchain.
Yeah.
Actually, shit coin is way better. It's way worse than fiat because there is no control, there's no regulation. Like it's the wild west. But yeah, shit coin, don't touch it. Like just forget about it. It's much worse than fiat because you have one guy creates his own token. That's like look at FTX, right? Create his own token, pump the market, multi-billion-dollar, get a loan against the token, then buy more token. It's some. If you're buying shitcoins, you are the yield. Like what they say. If you're a poker table, and you don't know who's the fish, you are the fish. You're the one that's everybody's taking it. That's the shitcoin for you. And Bitcoin is the opposite of all of that. There is no creator. I mean, there is, but who knows? There is no token that even he had to mine. So it's completely fair. Nobody can change it. Everybody can own it. Government can touch it. There's no inflation. 21 million. There's never going to be more. You can send it across the world as almost on the Lightning Network for free, pretty much. So it's the best possible money that humanity could ever create.
Hello, guys. Welcome to BitCorner. This is the fourth episode of the season. Today, we have the big pleasure to have here Matteo Pellegrini. He's the CEO of Orange Pill app. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Juan, for having me. It's a great pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much. So I want to know a little bit about your background. I know you're from Italy, but talk to us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? And a little bit maybe about your childhood or your family.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Italy, Florence, which a lot of people probably know, sort of tourist in Florence. Great childhood, everything great. Two sisters, mother, father. And then I studied economics in university. That was my big passion. It's always been my big passion. That's understanding why people choose. Like it's psychology of money, psychology of decisions when it comes to money. And then I moved to London very young, 21 years old of age. Tried to be a musician a couple of years. Then I opened a business. Actually, I had a first business when I was 19. Then I sold it to my partner, moved to London. Play around with music for a couple of years, and then open another business, which was the largest business I ever had so far, all about shipping and e-commerce. And then from there, I spent 7 years in London, which is a great time, a lot of fun. Moved back to Italy, tried to beat Uber at being Uber, didn't work. Moved to New York. Had an app for the theater, ended up working with the biggest theater agency in Broadway, sold them the technology, then moved to Los Angeles. I didn't like the winter in New York. Moved to Los Angeles, and then I took a break from business for a couple of years. I had a job for 2 years, the only job I ever had, selling cars, a lot of fun. A lot of skills learned about, always about psychology, what motivates people. And then, in those years, I got into Bitcoin, went down the rabbit hole. But first, I went down the shitcoin rabbit hole, then the real rabbit hole. And then in 2022, I started Orange Pill app, and here we are.
Wow, that's an amazing background, and so curious that you have like the musician background, and but also from your career background. It was more like a hobby, or do you really wanted to start like a music career?
I wanted to be a musician for 2, 3, 4 years.
Oh wow, that's curious.
I was never really like 100% maybe, because so my first business, I was 17, 18. I was very young when I had my first business,
Mhm.
and it was a successful business. So I enjoyed the business side, the economic side. I study economics, so it all ties together. But then I had this music passion when you're young, maybe a little bit naive. Everybody wants to be a rock star, I guess. But it didn't work out. So here we are.
And tell me a little bit about your rabbit hole journey.
Sure. So actually, the first time ever I heard about Bitcoin was maybe 2011 or 2020. Sorry, 2012, because it was $5. I remember the price. It was very
Yeah.
cheap. $5. I didn't buy. Thought it was a scam, probably like everybody else. And then Naval Ravikant from AngelList, which I knew because of my background in business technology, made a tweet about Bitcoin, which made me pause and think about, if it really is a scam, then why is this guy promoting? Because I know this guy is not a scammer.
Mhm.
So I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. Then Bitcoin in 2017 went up like crazy. Maybe I had one Bitcoin, very little stuff. And then I started buying shit coins in 2018, a lot of shit coins. Lost a lot of money because obviously at the beginning of the bear market. And then I re-entered the rabbit hole with the book of Seyfedin, the Bitcoin
Mhm.
Standard. Because as an economist and I study economics, I say, oh, maybe he has a different view than what I've learned so far. Because what I've learned so far back then was like nothing good, pretty much. So, the Bitcoin Standard, like it was the door into the rabbit hole. And then Michael Saylor was like the last step, I guess. Like, when Michael Saylor showed up, I was like, okay, I need to be all in, just like him. So from Michael Saylor onward, I've been a Bitcoin maxi.
And do you remember when was exactly the moment that you had your aha moment that you said, okay, all these currencies are shitcoins and Bitcoin is the solution. Bitcoin actually is the answer of the fiat money problems.
I remember one day I realized one thing that was like crazy to me. So, because I have business and background and technology background, and one day I realized that Bitcoin has no CEO, no founder, no marketing, no advertising, no offices. And I'm like, how the hell does this thing is so successful without anything like that? So that was me for a big moment. There was a big light bulb moment. It's like this is something huge, because usually companies have CEOs and advertising and spend billions of dollars, like Apple, you name it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bitcoin is worth hundreds of billions of dollars with none of that. So for me, that was a big signal that I was receiving from the market. Let's say, like, this thing has been tried. Also, the Mt. Gox hack,
Yeah.
the block size wars. Like, this thing should have been dead by now. That was a moment for me. Like, this thing should be dead by now. It has no CEO, has no founder, has no marketing, nothing, and it's still alive. That was a big moment in my head in waking up.
You mentioned Mt. Gox, and actually I have just out of curiosity because I want to know your opinion. Of course, about FTX and everything that happened. What do you think about these guys? Do you think that when they found these companies, they have like let's say, an evil motivation, or they are just naive about, I mean, maybe they don't have enough education about cryptocurrencies or bitcoins, or what is your opinion about those cases that we have seen in the last couple of months?
So Mt. Gox, I was not around. I was not buying. I know the story because obviously I've learned a lot. I think the guy was naive. I mean, it's hard to know what's going on in somebody's mind, but as far as I can tell, Mt. Gox was more naive, out of his depth, kind of like he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, Mt. Gox wasn't even a Bitcoin exchange. It was like Pokemon trading cards. I mean, it was completely ridiculous. But
Yeah.
when it comes to FTX, I would say if I was a betting man, I would say that Sam is a psychopath. Like, it's a psychopath that it's very smart, obviously, very capable, very smart, but it's like he's a psychopath that doesn't care about other people. He only cares about itself, so he would. Yeah, there's an element of evil behind Sam that I don't think it was behind the guy behind Mangox. That's my assessment. Also because FTX, I think, was launched in 2018 or 19. It's a very different time from Mangox. So Mangox, also Bitcoin was worth almost nothing. So there wasn't much money in Bitcoin when Mangox launched. So there's no, it's hard to say, but I wouldn't say the guy that started Mango, so wow, this is $100 million industry. Let me go and steal as much as I can. But FTX was launched when Bitcoin was already a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there was a lot of education as well. Seferdin and Breedlove and Livera and Antonopoulos and all that kind of stuff. So it's more likely that this guy is a psychopath, and he couldn't care less about anything else by himself, and he just ran all kind of scam and fraud. You can name it, he did it.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to ask you a little bit about changing a little bit the subject. I want to know a little bit the situation in Italy about the Bitcoin adoption. How do you see in the current situation or in the next few years? Do you think it is possible that a couple cities could adopt Bitcoin just like Switzerland did, and also Portugal, and in some cities, or also even my country, that make it a national legal tender?
Well, I don't live in Italy. I live in United States.
Oh, okay.
I haven't lived in Italy since 2006. So of course my family's there, my friends are there. I go back once a year, sometimes twice a year, but I'm not really plugged into Italy. But from what I know about Italy and Italians, I wouldn't bet Italy to become next country to adopt Bitcoin. Like, it's not gonna happen. Let me tell you that.
So how do you see the situation in the United States? Because I see that some states, some governors are trying to pull and to push to make Bitcoin legal tender. For example, I think it's in Texas, if I remember exactly, but that they're trying to make Bitcoin legal tender in some states in the United States. How do you see the situation over there?
Yeah, I mean, the United States, it's way more advanced, and it's way more, I mean, certain states are more freedom-loving states. I live in the one that is least freedom-loving states, which is California, but it's the best state as far as I can tell. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that some states might say, okay, it's legal tender in this state, which I don't know how much it's really going to do, but the dollars is so strong. I mean, the dollar, it's going to be hard to beat the dollars in the United States. I think it's going to be very hard. I think it's much easier in your country, El Salvador. They have way more incentives of getting rid of the dollars because they have no advantages. They're the receiver of inflation and all the sanctions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, United States. Also, I don't really think that the Bitcoin is the top-down system.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a bottom-up. I mean, it is a bottom-up, like individuals
Mm-hmm.
using Bitcoin day-to-day transactions. That's how we win. It's not like the government saying, okay, you guys won. It's never going to happen like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, like you said, it's like an alternative that the governments or anybody can do anything about it. If you want to use it, you will use it because it's unstoppable, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's no, as far as I know, I'm not a lawyer, but as far as I know, there is no law that prohibits you and I doing business in Bitcoin or bananas or anything.
Yeah.
The problem is that we have to pay taxes in dollars. So at some point, you have to acquire dollars.
Yeah.
But it's legal to do business in Bitcoin in the United States. I think even in Italy, like you can trade whatever currency you want. And I think if we do that, if that's one of the things that with Orange Pilar, we're going to facilitate all this P2P commerce, like a circular Bitcoin circular economy, is that we're going to facilitate when we launch the marketplace. And we have geolocation, so that helps with finding merchants or people that just want to do business in Bitcoin in your area.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best path forward. Like individuals taking back the freedom instead of asking the government to give them freedom.
Yeah. Well, now that you have mentioned the Orange Pill app, tell us what is the Orange Pill app and how do you come with this idea and why to make this app? How do you come with this?
Well, first of all, let me say it's not a dating app.com. Although you can use it as a dating app, especially now because it's close to Valentine's Day. In any case, so how did I get to the idea? Well, it's very simple. I was driving in Santa Monica, which is where I used to live, Los Angeles, and I asked myself, where are all the plebs around me? There's got to be more plebs here. But Los Angeles is a huge city with millions of people, and I know like 5, 6, very few. So I had this thought in my mind, like, how do I find plebs in my area? Because most people don't go to Meetup. You probably know, like 95% of plebs do not go to Meetup because it's, you have a life, you can make it, then it's awkward and whatever. And then one day a friend of mine called me and he's pitching me a dating app for active people. Like if you do surfing, you want to date a surfer. And so so at that point, I had the idea of how to solve the problem of meeting plebs nearby with the geolocation in the app. The problem has already been solved from dating apps. And so that's how I got the idea, the original idea. That's the inception of the idea. It was mobile app, geolocation, and then people can find each other. Simple as that. Of course, in businesses and in tech, ideas always get more complicated and more features, and it never ends really. But so Orange Pill App is pretty much a private digital club for BitCorners because everybody pays to get in. There's nobody. It's on. Even my mother is on the app. Even she has to pay, and I'm Italian, so you can. So do the math. So it's completely paywalled because it's very cheap. Actually, in El Salvador, it's free. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
If you're maybe you got it. Maybe you got it for free. Only in El Salvador, it's free. Everywhere else, you have to pay to get in. And so with the paywall, which one day I'm gonna write a book about the paywall because the paywall is magic. We don't have to worry about advertising, tracking, stealing data. Bots, scammers, spammers, NFT, and shitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
So when you join the app, everybody in the app, have paid just like you. So the connections and the quality, it's amazing. Like it's high signal, low noise. Actually, it's zero noise. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
when we launched 3 months ago, by the way. Today is 3 months old. When we launched, the monthly membership was $1.99, and in 1 week we had two spammers, two people that would pay to get in and then send the same message to everybody. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Even $1.99 is not enough. So I raised it to $2.99, which is still cheap. I mean, in the West, it's nothing. You don't even buy a coffee with $2.99.
Yeah.
And now we don't have spammers anymore. So it's very high quality, zero noise place that lives in your mobile app that lives in your pocket. When you travel around the world, you can take your phone out, find plebs everywhere you go. No meetups, no Telegram, no conference. They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then from your phone, you can chat with people and then meet them, or somebody the other day just told me he had a 4 hours Skype call with somebody that he met on the app. And I'm like, 4 hours? Like that's a long Skype call.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. That's the whole point. It's building the social layer of Bitcoin at scale.
And what can you do in the app? You can schedule your own events, or do you post like events that are going to be in
Not
Miami, or how do you work?
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So right now, the app is going to be technically three apps into one.
Okay.
One, the first piece, which is what it's live now, it's a networking app. So you open the app, make an account, pay the membership. If you want to pay in sats, by the way, you have to do it through the website because Apple and Google don't let us do it.
Okay.
Once you get the membership, you are in the app and you see the list of people around you. So the one on the top, always the closest to you. And then you can scroll as much as you can. You can search, and then you can chat. We can connect one-on-one with all the plebs that you want to connect. And then you can go on a date or friends or do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's one app. So it's a networking part.
Okay.
I think next month or in April, we're launching the events app, all inside Orangeville app. And everybody can create an event. So you can want to meet up. You have a meetup tomorrow, you want to make, bang, in the app, address, location, time. And you can even charge people to come to the event. You can even make the event free or paid.
Okay.
And get paid in sats in the app.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
You can do, yes. You can do dinners, soccer games, go to the stadium, go to the everything that's around Bitcoin in real life is going to be on Orangeville app. If it's online, if you want to be on Twitter and podcasts, then that's fine. But if you want to meet people in real life, in person, then Orangeville app is going to have all those kind of people and events. And then the last piece is the merchants. So at some point this year, we're going to have the marketplace where if you sell books or shoes or haircuts, or you're a lawyer and you sell hours, whatever you sell, you can do everything from the app, get paid in sats.
Okay.
Non-KYC, anonymous, all in one place.
So you can hire
that's
people
3 apps.
Or promote your job.
Yeah. If you're a designer, let's say you're a designer, and you want to sell, obviously you get paid by hour. You put your rate, people can find you, you can chat with them, and if you like what they do, bang, they pay you in the app, and then you get to work.
Wow, that's amazing. Hopefully we will see that
Yes.
you say that one in the second phase in April and the third one?
So the events part is going to come April or May. And then also for people that go to the conference, so we're going to announce soon that we are partnered with a big conference, with the official app of the conference.
Okay.
So when you go to a conference, I don't know, have you been to a conference, Juan?
And here in Barcelona, no. Only Bitcoin, no.
In general. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you go to a conference, there's 1,000 people. How many are you gonna meet? 5, 6, right? You're not gonna meet 1,000 people. It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
With the app, you can meet hundreds of people because you can chat with as many people as you want. And then the one that you like the best, say, hey, let's go for dinner tonight. Instead of going to the conference and then say, hi, I'm Wuhan. I'm in Bitcoin. Can we be friends? Like, it can be awkward, right? It can be awkward. So the app remove all this friction and also let you do this at scale. You can be at the hotel before you go to the conference, talking with 100 people that you're going to meet at the conference, which you can't do it any other ways.
Definitely. And I used to make this question in all my interviews, and I want to know how would you explain this? Because this podcast is meant for people that, well, are starting to maybe learn. Well, it's for everyone, but my goal is that people that never heard about Bitcoin, that they start learning about Bitcoin. So how can you explain to anyone that is the first time or just heard a little bit about Bitcoin, what is the difference between fiat, cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin?
Very good question. Very good question. I should know because I'm orange peel. I'm the chief orange peel, right? I should know better than anybody. And I've orange peeled so many people in my life. Usually, my approach is to find out on one by one what really motivates Juan and Joe and Sarah. But if I was to explain in the simplest possible term, is so fiat money is money that the government controls, and now we know, like everybody knows about inflation by now, like how bad it is and how terrible it is. So fiat money is pretty much you have a thief in your pocket that you don't see. It's the government that put a thief in your pocket. And every day that goes by, the money that you have in your pocket, they lose value. Every day, there's a little thief taking a piece of your money every single day.
Yeah.
That's terrible, obviously. That's terrible. Shit coins, I mean, where do I begin? Shit coins is like fiat on a blockchain.
Yeah.
Actually, shit coin is way better. It's way worse than fiat because there is no control. There's no regulation. Like it's the wild west. But yeah, shit coin, don't touch it. Like just forget about it. It's much worse than fiat because you have one guy creates his own token. That's like look at FTX, right? Create his own token, pump the market, multi-billion-dollar, get a loan against the token, then buy more token. It's some. If you're buying shit coins, you are the yield. Like what they say. If you're a poker table, and you don't know who's the fish, you are the fish. You're the one that everybody's taking it. That's the shit coin for you. And Bitcoin is the opposite of all of that. There's no creator. I mean, there is, but who knows? There is no token that even he had to mine. So it's completely fair. Nobody can change it. Everybody can own it. Government can touch it. There's no inflation. 21 million. There's never going to be more. You can send it across the world as almost on the Latin network for free, pretty much. So it's the best possible money that humanity could ever create. I think it's technically impossible to create money that is better than Bitcoin. And the last thing I would say to people that listen, if they look around themselves, if they have a house or a car or even an iPhone, everything that works in life is being engineered by somebody else. The car has been engineered, the house has been engineered, your computer's been engineered, your dishwasher, everything has been engineered, which makes sense. Bitcoin is engineered money.
It's good. It's a
Leave
good
leave it like that.
It's a good approach. And how do you explain to people? Because normally people say that the ones that are starting, But what do you think about the volatility, and why the volatility? Because people that are new said, okay, there was 60,000 last year and now it's 21K. How do you change? Because the thing is not the volatility, that's not the problem. It's how to educate people about the long-term vision and the short-term vision, and why Bitcoin is superior money than fiat in terms of saving money to protect your money. How can you explain that?
Yes, obviously the volatility is a big problem for people that just get started in Bitcoin. Obviously, it's a huge problem. Even people that have been years in Bitcoin, even my mother, she's bought Bitcoin in 2019. I told her buy one Bitcoin at $5,000. So, you know, even today she's making money. But the volatility, okay, let me give you this example. Let's see if we can help people. What is the price of, so you're in Spain, so you have the euro.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What is the price of €1 in bananas? What is the price?
Like, yes, like the kilo, it's around 150, I think, euros.
Okay, but if somebody asks you that question, say like, why do you even ask that question? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. Okay, what is the let me rephrase. What is the price of your house in bananas? Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're an engineer, though. I'm sure you're gonna do the math, but nobody asked that question, right?
Yeah.
I would hope so. So to price Bitcoin in the things that it's going to replace, it doesn't really make much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're pricing something. So Bitcoin and fiat are two complete different systems.
Mm-hmm.
And so fiat is government and Bitcoin is engineer technology. Okay. So Bitcoin it might end up, probably is going to end up replacing fiat just because it's a much better technology. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when cars were introduced 100 years ago, maybe some people would price them in horses because, you know, at the beginning it makes sense. Oh, I could buy 10 horses. Now I have to buy a car. I could do this. Okay.
Yeah.
But at some point, people would just say, okay, one car is worth in dollars, right? Because that was the currency. So to price Bitcoin in dollars or euro, it doesn't really make much sense. What you really need to understand is that if you buy one Bitcoin, you're gonna have one Bitcoin out of 21 million forever.
Yeah.
That's the thing you need to understand. You're gonna own a percentage of the whole network that nobody can touch you, nobody can steal it from you forever. And you can pass the percentage to your child and grandchild, and you don't have to worry about the government going bankrupt, like, you know, Lebanon, Turkey, Argentina, every government goes, even Germany went bankrupt, Italy, like, you know, the lira is gone. Yeah, so the volatility is because we're going from one system to another. So of course there's going to be turbulence when you go from one system to another.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look, you know, even within the system, if you look at 3, 4, 5 years, Bitcoin price always gone up, always gone up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so it's time to be a little bit silly, and I told you that at the beginning, before we started the podcast, that we're going to play a game that it's a section that is called Hard Truths. So basically, we're going to play rock, paper, scissors, and the loser pick 3 questions or whatever question they have lost in the game. And it's a silly question. We're going to give short answers, and that's it. Just to make it a little bit fun and not just too serious. So
yeah, sure, let's do it.
So just let me change this. The view. Okay. So I'm gonna say rock, paper, scissors, and when I say scissors, we show, and we're going to make it 3
Sure.
times. And
Okay.
and the loser pick a random question, and the winner make the question.
Got it.
Okay.
I'm a professional rock system paper player, just so you know.
Okay. So you've been in tournaments.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. Okay,
There you go.
Just one question. Okay, you're going to ask me the question.
Amazing. So
Let's
I'm going to
say,
ask you the question, right?
yeah, I'm going to pick it randomly. Let's say,
So you pick or I pick?
I pick a random number, and you, because I don't see it, and you ask me the question.
Got it. Yep.
So,
Yep.
I don't know, 53.
53. What's your anthem right now song?
Oh, my son. Ha. That's a good one. I think it's one from Quevedo. It's artist from here in Spain, and
You gotta sing it.
no, I'm not gonna sing it, but I can send you the song
That's
later.
the game.
No, it's just
later in private. Okay.
but
Nice.
Quevedo,
I can't
I
wait.
recommend you strongly Quevedo. It's a really nice guy.
Okay.
And
Is it Bitcoin?
it's I don't know, but I hopefully I will meet him one day and ask him, and if not, I'm going to orange pill him. Okay,
There you go.
so we're almost at the end of the interview. We have around 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm going to ask you just 2 more questions to wrap it up. And
Yep.
before we started the game, you just said that, well, eventually Bitcoin is going to replace the fiat monetary system. So how far are we from that? How far are we from that road from your perspective? And
Thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, continue. Go ahead.
Thanks for the easy question, Juan. Very easy. I'm glad you asked me because I know the answer. Why wouldn't I? Well, I don't know. Like it's so one thing I can tell you, it's Bitcoin. It is not inevitable. That's a misunderstanding. That's a mistake that Bitcoiners do. The thing is inevitable, which is not true at all.
Mhm.
It's not true at all. What is inevitable is the death of fiat currency, because they always die. Sooner or later, they will die. In our history, it's full of dead fiat currency. I think there's a lot of work that we should do as Bitcoiners to make sure when that happens, when the dollar dies, Bitcoin is ready to take over, which is not today. Today is not ready.
Mhm.
Today is not even close to be ready. So
Yeah, we are too early yet.
yeah, the Latin network is great. There's a lot of problems still in Latin network, but it's a huge improvement, of course. I don't know. I mean, how long? Technology, it's also exponential, right? It's not linear.
Mm.
So it escalates the more you go on the curve, right? It's hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. I mean, you can't predict a black swans event like COVID, Russia. You can't predict that. I would say easily a decade, at least a decade, at least.
Mhm.
So if you're listening, don't get in a hurry. Just keep buying, keep stocking, educate yourself, meet plebs on Orange Pill app or whatever you do. Just build the network, build the social network, because the social network is what's gonna make it, is what's gonna win or lose. Because when we can talk to each other, especially in real life, is when you really get conviction, right? If you're always in your house, listening to all the podcasts, it's okay. But when you meet somebody like you in real life, oh, I'm not crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of work to done, which hopefully Orange Pill will be one piece of this huge work.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least a decade for sure.
And the second part of that question was that what do you think are do you think are the main challenges that Bitcoin has to well, the main problems that have Bitcoin right now to be as
Well,
resilient as
definitely definitely the volatility. People, you can't teach people. Doesn't matter like how much time you spend.
Mhm.
Majority of people will never really take the time to understand. Oh, it's a new system. I shouldn't trust in the old system. So definitely, the volatility needs to go down. Number one. Number two, the payments rail, the infrastructure, it needs to be built. Payment rails, all that kind of Strike, I think, is doing a great job. A lot of companies are doing a great job in terms of like making payments really, really easy. Like fiat. Swipe your card, bang, you're done. You don't have to load a wallet or a QR codes, just bang. So that's it has to go mainstream. And to go mainstream, we Bitcoiners should stop talking about decentralization, self-sovereignty, and censorship resistant, because most people don't care about this stuff. That's
yeah.
what you don't understand if you're a Bitcoiner like 24/7. Most people do not care about this stuff. They do care about fast payments, global payments. Like I send money to my mother or to my friends. One click, bang. No banks, no government, no fees. It's amazing. So we have to focus on what really matters. Like back to my sales days, like if somebody's buying a car from me and they really are artists, maybe I'll talk about the color of the car. I'm not going to talk about the engine of the car, right? So we have to talk about things that people care. Mainstream.
Yeah.
If you want to go mainstream, you have to talk their language,
Yeah.
not the Bitcoin maxi language. I think that's a big lesson that we have to learn for sure.
Okay, and one last question. Have you arranged build your family? I know you just said your mom, but when that happened, and if you
Oh
have
yeah,
any other family members that you arrange build?
yeah. Everybody. That's well, I wouldn't say orange peel. Orange peel. Like they have Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in my family have Bitcoin. Everybody,
Okay.
but then obviously they're not Bitcoin maxi. Like they're
Yeah.
not reading books. They're not listening to Michael Saylor. But they got Bitcoin, so at least they get some safety there.
Okay. Perfect. So that's it. I think yeah, I made you all the questions. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here. And yeah, just thank you for your knowledge and to provide us your point of view of Bitcoin.
Thank you, Juan. It was a great pleasure being with you. See you in
Thank
the
you.
app.
See ya.